Today we're going to look at the Neuron Lab Synapse and Dendrites. First I'll clear up a little problem I've been having. I use a spot on the mouse, so if you see this is where my mouse is pointing, to make it a little clearer on your end. If I left click, it turns green for a second. If I right click, it turns red with a blue outline, so it'll know which button I'm pressing if you're following along. Okay, so first we'll start up the Neuron Lab, and it comes up as a simple neuron. This is a complete neuron, but for illustration I'm going to show you how to clear it all. Go up to Body Plan, Clear. That shuts everything off, clears this listing of connections. Then I'm going to bring in a step, drag and drop, and bring in an oscilloscope, drag and drop. They're all the same. The oscilloscopes and steps are all the same. You can feel free to use any of them. Left click, and you can see this is the output of that step input. If you right click on the step, it'll show the parameters of that step. And right now it's 180 picoamps, starts at 1 millisecond and runs for 5 milliseconds. You can change that to something a little bit larger if you like. I usually run at about 15. And start it just for illustrations, start it at 5 millisecond input to the sweep. So now we're at 5 milliseconds. We're at 5 milliseconds. You can see that over here right in that screen position. And it runs for up to 20 milliseconds. That's the 15 millisecond pulse width. If you lose your connections, which you did, you right click anytime and it redraws them. Okay, so that's the step input, looking at it with a scope. Now I'll right click on the scope, disconnect it, bring in a synapse, put it right there, move the scope over a little bit. The wrong one. Okay, now we'll left click, disconnect that. Okay, left click, connect the scope to the output, and here's our synapse. As you can see, the synapse is actually a synaptic interface to a single cell of a dendrite. So you think of it as a synapse plus a dendrite cell right there. As you can see, the membrane voltage of the dendrite portion of the synapse is charging. If I increase the charge current, let's say I go up to 300 picoamps, it charges faster. If I increase the width, I'll go up to like 40 milliseconds and adjust the scope a little bit. There we go. Now you can see this leading edge follows the charge-discharge function of a RC circuit. Discharges. Now if you open up the synapse by right clicking, you can see the parameters of the synapse. This is the size, is the dendrite cell of the synapse. This ST spike timing delay plasticity is a placeholder for me if I ever get the spike timing display plasticity project going. Right now it does nothing, it just sort of changes the volume of that. Double click and it'll go back to 0. This is the input, maximum of 300 picoamps. Okay, now I'm going to add a second synapse. Connect this second step to that synapse. Bring in another dendrite, connect it up, and take the output to dendrite number 3 right there, like that. Missed a step. There we go. Okay, I'm going to take my oscilloscope, disconnect it, and connect it to the output of that dendrite. Another oscilloscope, connect it to the output of that dendrite. Okay, I kick up the input a bit, make it 100 picoamp. Better make it 200. I want to get it up above 40 millivolt. I'm going to go up to 300 picoamp. There we go. And on the second one, or on the first step, I'm going to bring it up as well to 300 picoamp. Okay. To change step 2's output to start later, I'll run it up to 25 milliseconds. Maybe make it a little more, make it 35 milliseconds. And now if we take an oscilloscope and look at the output of the intermediary dendrite, that's the composite. So each step, each synapse contributes through its dendrite to the sum total of this dendrite. Move it out even more to make it obvious. Move the green scope up a little bit to this. There you go. Change the scope size. Now you can see how those two dendrites contribute to the overall running of the system.